Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Galler.
And I'm Caitlin Madison. Welcome to episode 109. We're recording this. It's going to air in March, but we're recording it right before a big quote unquote weather event. I flew back from Florida on Thursday. It's now Sunday, and everything tomorrow is closed. So Molly and I are recording from our own homes, waiting to take out the shovels. And honestly, I think it's kind of a perfect time to record a pod, to be honest with you.
You know what? I was thinking to myself, thank God we're doing this before we lose power.
I know, right? I really hope I don't. I don't know if you realize this, but the building that you can see in my backyard is the Norwood municipal plant that's where we get our internet and our TV and our electricity. So I feel like I'm in a good spot, I think.
Good.
But I did go out for an hour this morning and chisel ice off my deck in preparation of, I'm just worried about the weight of the snow. I remember back in 2015, people were hiring people to shovel roofs. I was working at a school in Lincoln at that time, and I was working in a second grade classroom, and I just remember they hired all these people to shovel the roofs, but they didn't shovel. They brought snow blowers up there because there was so much snow, and we could hear them on top of the building, and I was like, am I going to have to rescue a second grader from a snowblower that falls through the is this what we're going to be doing? So I just have a general anxiety about if we get 2 feet of snow, what can I possibly get off of my deck now? So that's what I was doing this morning. I missed the first period of the USA hockey game as a result, but that's okay because periods 2, 3, and overtime were amazing. I can't say that I'm thrilled that I came back from Florida to this bullshit. I mean, I should be prepared for it. I've lived here my entire life, but it's just this. Tomorrow would have been the first day back to work after the office was closed for a week. And now we're not going to be open, and I've got to find places for all of these patients to be scheduled. And it's kind of a lot. And honestly, if I'm going to get a snow day, I don't need it to be the first day I'm back from a break.
Totally.
Give me a Wednesday or something. You know what I mean? Give it to me when I'm, in need of some time off. But Florida was great. It finally got to the 80s. It had not been in the 80s since my parents got down there, so that was really nice. And we played some golf, went to the pool, went out to dinner a few times. Mainly just relaxed, honestly. It wasn't my mom, at the end of the trip was I feel like this was kind of uneventful. We didn't do a lot. And I was like, I didn't come down here to run myself ragged. I came down here to relax. And she was like, oh, then it was probably a pretty good trip. So that was good. She just felt we didn't have sometimes we'll go to a museum or we'll get tickets to a play or something, and we didn't schedule anything like that, and so she felt like we hadn't really gotten up to anything, and I was like, I didn't really come down here with that goal in mind, so it all kind of shook out nicely. I have a baby shower coming up that I'm hosting. And if you know me, you know I hate baby showers and bridal showers, but I volunteered to do this because it's my boxing coach, and
Cute.
it's just the women that I do boxing with. It's not going to be the aunts and the grandmas and the people that you don't want to talk to or really know. It's just our group that we like to hang out outside of the gym. And she's probably not coming back to our gym, so this is a little send off kind of thing. I think, if I had to guess, I think she's going to go out on her own when her baby gets a little older, and I think that our group is probably in the know on that, and so it's going to be Harry Potter themed, and
Cute.
we're getting it catered, and I've got Karen just gave me 2 mocktails that she cooked up from Chicks Who Mix. And so I'm going to try those out and see which one I like. And I've already asked her to tell me the booze to put into them for the people that don't want a mocktail. So I think that that's going to be really fun. That's next weekend. And last night I went to a new restaurant in Foxborough called Union Straw. I want to take you there. I think you would love it.
Okay.
Very like farmhouse shabby chic inside. And the menu was like really extensive. It was like all three of us had a hard time narrowing down what it is that we wanted to get. And it just had like really nice vibes. Our appetizer was a crab rangoon flatbread.
Ooh.
Delicious. And then I got a burger that had fig jam, goat cheese, prosciutto, and arugula. And it was delicious. And it came with tots, which is also
Oh,
my favorite. I just can't recommend it enough. They take reservations, they have a parking lot, two of my favorite things. Um, and it's just nice to like find a non chain restaurant in the burbs, is how I'm
totally.
going to phrase it. Like,
Totally.
it's really nice to like, the chain restaurants have a time and a place, but like, I'm glad to have another one in my back pocket, and it only took me 12 minutes to get there. So that feels
Even
good.
better.
But I will definitely take you and Steph at some point
Sounds
because
great. I have not
it was
heard of it, which
awesome.
is unusual since I follow all the food creators in the greater
Mm.
Boston area, but I'll have to check it
I
out.
just occasionally will do like just a search on Yelp of like what's near me. And my friends Mike and Karen are foodies and they live in the town next to me. And we're always looking for new spots to try because we're the only ones that really live out in the burbs. So we get together pretty often. And I had suggested earlier in the week before the snowpocalypse that we all get out of the house before we're like caved in.
So smart.
And I asked them if they had heard of it. They hadn't heard of it, which is really unusual because they've lived in this area longer than I have. So I feel like they're the ones that have scouted stuff out and told me where to go. And so I was like pretty excited that like I came up with a place that they didn't know, and then we all loved it. Karen had a special that was filet mignon with a lobster hollandaise on it over mashed potatoes. And Mike got the ribeye, which had this unbelievable like red gravy on it with glazed carrots. And I think he had mashed potatoes also. And I think his mashed potatoes were garlic chive. Anyways, people should check it out. We had a great time. Karen got a fig gimlet. Mm-hmm. And I got it. I forget what they called it. It was like the midnight vanilla martini or something like that. I don't totally remember. But it was made with cranberry juice, absolute vanilla vodka, and then it had something else vanilla-y in it. It was a very unexpected combination of things, and it was delightfully crisp.
Wow. I can't
So
say that
that's
I would
me.
have thought to put vanilla and cranberry together,
Me
but I
neither.
guess the
Never.
result was delicious.
It was great, and the presentation was really good too. So, and I love that. It had like
Amazing.
it had a sprig on it and cranberries, and then they did a dust of powdered sugar over it. It was elegant. I'm not gonna lie.
That sounds amazing.
What have you been up to?
Well, I'm thrilled because it's Girl Scout cookie season.
Oh, I've already got mine.
My next door neighbor, Viv, shout out Viv, her mom is a graphic designer and she made door hangs for everyone
Stop.
that said it's cookie season with, pictures of all the classics. And
You're
it says,
joking me.
no, oh, just wait. It says, I'm so excited to be the representative from your local troop. If you'd like to support us, scan this QR code. And then when you did that, you could decide you want her to deliver it, you want it to be shipped, you can decide to get cookies for yourself, you can donate cookies. It was
Donate
amazing.
cookies. I haven't heard that before.
Yes, you can donate cookies, which they give to food banks. And
What?
I think I did this. I want to say I did this maybe Thursday morning.
That is
Today is
such a good
Sunday,
idea.
and she brought them today.
What a
So she had
legend.
this cute little bag,
Viv
and
is a
it had
legend.
more branding on it that her mom taped on, and it said my name on the top. Okay, so here's my haul. I'm just going to show you. Of course, the classic
Yep, my
Thin
mom's
Mint.
favorite.
Now, why these come in a plastic sleeve and not a box right now, I don't know. This is the purple Samoa Caramel
That's
Delights.
my personal favorite.
And then I decided to roll the
When did
dice.
they stop saying Samoa? Is it not politically
It's
correct?
been a while. It's
Is
been a
that why they
while.
switched it?
I think so.
So I've heard other places in the country it's still called Samoa.
Oh,
I'm
really?
going to research this, but I saw something on Twitter the other day. Continue.
And then I decided to get the new flavor for this year. I'm rolling the dice on something new. These are called Explore Moors. These are Rocky Road
I
flavored
got them.
cookies.
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
saying
I'm
zero things. You tell me what you think.
okay. I'm
After you've had them.
ecstatic. I'm ecstatic, and also
What are
let's
you going to
talk about
open for your tea tonight?
Thin Mint.
Do the listeners know about this?
About what?
About your nightly ritual?
No, I don't think so.
Molly, this is one of the most, I think, delightful things about Molly, and I feel like I found out kind of late into our friendship. Not late, but like I had probably known you. Like I think Steph is the one that told me. So we had probably been friends for 8 or 10 years before I found this out. That you have tea and a cookie every night.
Yeah, well, I watch TV.
Yeah.
It's true. It's
Is
true.
it always the same kind of tea?
No. So I
That's
have
what I
quite
thought.
a
Okay.
extensive collection of tea. I have all the classics, as you would imagine: green, Earl Grey, lemon, all that stuff. But then I also have a lot of what I call, I'm sure this is not like what the industry people call them, but I call them dessert teas. Like I have a chocolate peppermint, I have a creme brulee, a lot of those kinds of flavors that feel more desserty.
Are you a
Um,
David's tea person?
I do love David's tea,
I
and
do
for a
too.
while, there was a David's tea store close to my office when I worked down by Faneuil Hall, and I used to have, they call it a frequent steeper. I had a frequent steeper
Yep.
card,
Yep.
and not only would I buy cool, fun tea flavors for myself, but I got a lot of gifts there, mugs and teapots, and
You can make some really good iced tea with their
yes,
teas. My
yes.
personal favorite from there is the I believe it's called cream of Earl Grey.
Oh,
So it's an Earl Grey that tastes like it has dairy in it and it doesn't.
whoa.
Yeah, it's very cool. I don't know how they did it, but it's really
Huh.
delicious because I love Earl Grey.
I'll have to check that out.
I recommend it.
Yes, but shout out Vivian, my neighbor, for delivering these today ahead
Yeah.
of the snowstorm.
Incredible.
I was like, you're a dream.
She knew. I
She
mean,
totally knew.
she was like, I got to get these to the people that I can get them to. You know what I mean? And you're going
Totally.
to remember that. And you're going to be looking out for Viv's ads next year because
Yes,
you're going to be like,
totally.
remember when we got snowed in and Viv hooked me up?
Save the day. Totally.
Oh my
My,
gosh.
yeah, my other
Neighborhood
update.
legend.
Totally.
Hero, really. A
Hero.
neighborhood hero.
Yes. Totally the neighborhood hero. My other update is that last night I saw Wuthering Heights.
Oh, I'm so curious what you think. I haven't seen it, but I also hate that book, so I don't know what I'll
Okay,
do.
so I'm going to speak about it in a way that I think won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen or hasn't read but is curious. So I will say this version is produced by Margot Robbie and her production company, Lucky Chap. She did an amazing interview with the Smartless podcast. If anyone wants to hear more about the creation of this movie specifically, you should listen to that. Emerald Fennell is the director from Promising Young Woman and Saltburn. If you've seen either of those movies, you know she has a very cheeky and a bit, I don't know if sarcastic's the right word, dark humor style. So I wasn't quite sure how that would apply to this story. I laughed at a lot of dark jokes that I wasn't quite expecting. And I also felt that visually, this was so over the top. The sets, the costumes, the jewelry, the hair, the food. It was like an overload for every single one of your senses watching this. And when we were
I
walking
felt that way
out,
about Saltburn a little bit.
yes, the same, like
Very like grandiose and
yes,
elegant, and everything was like almost like exaggerated to the point where you're like, is this supposed to be like a like a farce?
This felt the same. And when we were walking out, I was like, I need to know everything about the budget of this movie. Like, I actually couldn't believe all the things that they managed to accomplish. And I'm sure plenty of things were CGI, and I just don't know enough about how that works. But the other thing I will say, I ugly cried. I'm talking like lip quivering, rolling, fat tears for like the final 8 minutes of this movie, to the point where I was wearing my winter coat. I like lifted my coat up towards my mouth because I felt like I was like breathing too loud. It was very, very, very emotional.
Wow.
And when the lights came up, I was like, I can't make eye contact with anyone else because what if I'm the only one who like was destroyed? And
You're not, because this is what I've seen on Twitter. People are like, the first half of the movie, I hated it and didn't really understand what I had just signed up to come to. And the second half of the movie, they were like, I got emotionally destroyed and had to be like led out of the movie theater. That's what
I,
I've heard.
it really got me. It
Yeah.
really, really got me. And like, we went to the movie theater 5 minutes from the house, so I was
Mhm.
home very quickly. And then I was back alone in my living room, and I was like, why are you still not recovered from this? What is your
Mm.
problem? It took me like over a half hour for my breathing to like regulate again. And interestingly, last weekend, I saw Jacob Elordi in the new Frankenstein, like streamed it,
Which I heard was great.
loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually like a sci-fi horror type of
Yeah.
person, and I was very into this. So to see him do that,
Yeah.
and then see him do Heathcliff,
Is it confirmed that he's the next James Bond? I know there's rumors.
I don't know.
I think so. So there have been rumors, and then the rumors stopped for a little bit, and then the rumors started that it was going to be Callum Turner,
Oh,
and now I don't know what to believe.
here's what I'll tell you. The back half of this movie, Jacob Elordi has a gold tooth right in the front, and even that did not stop me from
Didn't
being
deter you?
attracted to him.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So here's what I'm going to say, and I probably will see this, but I probably will watch it in my home.
Sure.
Is it long?
2 hours and 16 minutes.
That's long. Okay. So I absolutely loved Promising Young. Okay. Let me rephrase. There's two movies that I think most people would say are excellent films, but not rewatchable. And for whatever reason, I compulsively think that they're rewatchable, and I have seen them many times. One of them is Promising Young Woman, and another is Spotlight.
Mm,
Spotlight, I think it's because it transports me to a time and a place, and basically the events of that movie are like why my family stopped going to church. And in addition to that, there's just a lot of justice that happens there.
yeah.
And it's a real fist pump, and Rachel McAdams is in it, and Michael Keaton and Mark Ruffalo. All the people I love are in that movie. And it's a slam dunk of a movie.
Yeah.
Promising Young Woman is it's the kind of movie that I'm like, God, I wish I wrote this. Like, I wish that my brain worked this way and that I made something like this. And it's visceral and it is unapologetic. And it's just the performances in it are so good. And, anyways, and then I saw Saltburn because I loved Promising Young Woman so much.
Yeah.
And that movie was diabolical.
Yeah. Good word.
It left me like scratching my chin, and I was like, whoa, what did I just experience? Like, what just happened? And the promo for Wuthering Heights has had like a similar. I'm scratching my chin, being like, I've read this book twice against my will because I was an English major, and I didn't like it. And what I'm watching on the trailers does not translate to anything I read. And then the other thing I'll say about it is, have you read the book, Molly?
No.
Okay. So supposedly the reason that it's like a forbidden love is because Heathcliff is supposed to not be white.
Yes. So I've seen a lot of videos about this and how
And
the
so
casting of Jacob Elordi was disappointing to people.
it's disappointing because we keep freaking doing the same thing over and over again. Like, we keep not addressing that is what would make it so forbidden. And I'm not like, listen, I don't like Wuthering Heights as a book. So, like, I don't really have a dog in the hunt on this, but it is a little surprising to me given her CV that
Mm.
Emerald didn't feel the need to, like, it feels like it was a little bit of a money grab that she
Mm.
put Jacob in this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
And that's all I'm going to say about that because I haven't seen the movie. But
fair
that's
enough.
kind of
Well,
where I am with it.
totally. Well, I will look forward to your thoughts. And I totally get why you just would wait to stream it. And I think it will probably come to streaming quite quickly because they're already having a great run at the box office. And I'm sure they just want to extend that. Anything else before we get into our thematic chat of the day?
I did want to give one shout out / I wanted to ask you if you watched this show. I wanted to get into a show before we got snowed in.
Okay.
I didn't want to be in the like death scroll of like trying to find something. So last night I started His and Hers on Netflix.
Haven't watched it.
Okay. Do you know anything about it?
No.
Okay. It's Johnny Bernthal, aka Mikey, the dead brother in The Bear, and Tessa Thompson, which I know her, but I don't know why I know her. I don't know what she was in that I know.
You know what? She was on the red carpet for both the Emmys and the Golden Globes, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the role was that she was nominated for, but she has been around this award season.
Oh, I know what it is. Isn't she in something with Michael B. Jordan now that I'm
Is she
thinking
in
about this?
Sinners?
No. The Rocky movie. I think she's in the Rocky movie.
Oh, okay.
Anywho, okay, so Johnny Bernthal plays a county sheriff in a suburb of Atlanta,
Okay.
and Tessa Thompson plays his estranged wife, and she is an Atlanta news anchor.
Okay.
And when the show starts, there's a dead body on a car in the woods that's been stabbed. And throughout the first episode, you're kind of like, he's investigating it and she's reporting it. And throughout the whole episode, you're like, did she do it? Did he do it? They both know her. And you're like, who the hell did this? And then it becomes pretty clear that they like both think the other person did it.
Mm.
And you're like, why would they assume that? And the dynamic between them is very messed up because they're estranged, but they're not divorced. And then she's like meddling where she shouldn't be. And he like probably shouldn't be investigating it because it's like a conflict of interest. And so you're just sitting there and you're like, and she from the go is very unlikable and he is super charismatic. And then by the end of the episode, you're like, are they both a-holes? Like, did I just get duped? So I'm in. I'm very
Okay.
in. I'm glad to have a show for the snowpocalypse.
Amazing.
And
Okay.
now I'm ready to talk about one of our favorite book series.
Okay, so I need those who are watching us to see that we have our going to the cottage candle going,
Perfecto.
which smells of balsam fir, and it's absolutely delightful. And this is part 2 of us talking about the Game Changers series by Rachel Reid. We are talking about book 4, Common Goal, book 5, Role Model, and book 6, The Long Game. And in fact, when we did our last recap of books 1, 2, and 3, I'm not even sure that we knew yet about book 7.
I don't think we did.
So this is thrilling because we're basically doing what we thought were the last 3 books, and it turns out, surprise, there's going to be more.
You'll get more of us talking about this series. Ha ha.
Exactly.
Ha 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 ha.
So we decided we would go in order. So if you're listening and you're like, shoot, I've read 6, but I didn't read 4 and 5, or, you can jump around, but we're going to go in order, starting with Common Goal, book 4. So the premise of this book is that Eric, who is the goalie for the New York Admirals, which is Scott Hunter's team, is getting ready to consider retiring from hockey. And he finds himself recently divorced from a woman and oddly attracted to a young bartender who, if you have watched the show version of Heated Rivalry, you know as Kyle from The Kingfisher. And what I had forgotten is that Kyle is in love with Kip. And I didn't fully grasp the magnitude of that until I read the book. And it's a much bigger part of the written version of the story, where Kyle really is trying to get over not just Kip, but a pattern of kind of chasing people who are not that into him or not that nice to him. So I will say this. Normally it's easy for me to picture someone like a famous person, an actor, when I'm reading these sorts of things. And even if it hasn't been adapted yet, obviously we know what Kyle looks like. I couldn't really like cast in my mind a person who would play Eric Bennett.
No. I didn't really have a good portrait in my head either. I have to say, this is my least favorite book in the series.
It's also my least favorite.
It's your least favorite too. I'm curious to know if we didn't connect with it for the same reasons. And it's not to say that I didn't like this book, like I finished it, but it just wasn't the strongest. And I think it's because I found Eric and Kyle to not be a very believable couple. I didn't buy it, I guess is what I would say. And in some ways there were moments where I felt that way about Kip and Scott. Because listen, I get that these are gay hockey players and that they like maybe don't have like a huge dating pool or people to pick from, but they're also millionaires. And like I just there were moments where I was like, so you met the smoothie guy and then you were like move in like 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like it just there's some moments where I'm like, okay, I need to throw my cynical mind out the window. These are supposed to be escapism. I'm supposed to be having fun with this. And, you know, there's such a good arc that happens with Scott and Kip that you're like, okay, I'm going to get over the fact that he like basically wifed up the smoothie guy. But with Eric and Kyle, Eric is bi, and I feel like that is not really explored in depth, like how he decided that he was bi or like why all of a sudden he's like launching full throttle into being in a gay relationship. Kyle is not a catch, honestly. Like I think he's described as being pretty good looking, which is obviously like the pull there, but he just doesn't really seem like somebody that I'd like risk it all for. You know what I mean? Like I just it throughout the book I just didn't really get it. And I will say I think out of the 6 books, this one has like the most graphic detail about sex because there's a lot of maneuvering and figuring it out because Eric hasn't really dated men before. And so Kyle kind of like is his guide through a lot of things. And there were just certain parts where I was like, I'm kind of over this. Like I'm not I didn't buy in and I'm not in on this relationship enough to like get the gory details of like the mechanics of how this is all going down. And if I liked them more as a couple or if I bought into it more, maybe that wouldn't have like bothered me as much. But there's like I think there's one part where it's like 20 pages or like 30 pages in a row of just like the mechanics of how this is all going down. And I was like, when are we going to get to more of a plot? You know what I mean? It felt like the plot was pretty weak on this one. And maybe I'm being harsh, but I think it's because the other ones are so good and I know she's capable of writing really good couples. And so this one just fell flat for me.
Yeah, so I think for me, the parts that there were two parts that I did like. The first is that the way that Eric was channeling his frustrations, repression felt very real to me. Like super clean house, crazy yoga workout routine, mega clean eating, just like discipline to the max. We all know somebody like that.
Well, and do you think that that was like a precursor or like a foreshadowing to how Shane is in book 6?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And the scene that I liked the most is that Eric, weirdly, collects art. This is like a passion of his outside of sports. he takes Kyle to a gallery that he goes to often where he finds a lot of his pieces for his home. And they have this very touching moment where they're both standing in front of a particular piece, talking about their interpretation and what it means to them. And they both have different perspectives on the same physical piece of work. And I was like, okay, like I'm getting into how they are vibrating on a similar frequency. But I felt like it was like this short, like flash in the pan moment. And then I didn't get that level of depth again. And it felt like, Eric is older. He's trying to make peace with the fact that he's going to shut this chapter of his life. He's with a younger person who feels like Kyle feels like he hasn't even gotten his shit together for the first time, let alone like to be great at something. I could see how that juxtaposition of where they are in their life and career could have made for something really cool where they sort of help each other each kind of move towards the middle. But it just, for me, never really clicked in.
Here's what I gained from this. When I was like rethinking about the book before we recorded today and I was taking my little notes, I think you know that I have been on a journey of putting in and taking out 7,000 heated rivalry related merch items on Etsy.
Yes.
I have not committed to buying a single thing. I put something in, I take it out. I see something new on Instagram, I think about it, then I add to my cart, then I take it out. Haven't bought a single thing. I think going back through this book, the part that I liked the best was at the end when Eric becomes an investor in the Kingfisher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would have liked that to have been 100 pages of the book, renovating it, working together, collaborating with another couple, like all the things, right?
We love a property renovation.
We love it. I would have, and it was like a 2-page, by the way, I'm doing this, whatever, one off thing that I was very disappointed in. But my revelation that I had is that I think I want my merch to be Kingfisher related.
Whoa.
So I want people that are listening, if you have the links, if you have a Cricut and you make stuff yourself, I want you to message us on Instagram with your best Kingfisher shit, because I think that that is like a cheeky little nod to the show. It's totally a bar that I would go to if it existed. Like, give me a gay sports bar in Boston and I will go. Like, I would love to go to that. And yeah, so I think that that's what my merch is going to be. So even though I didn't like the book, revisiting the book today and taking my little podcast notes, I realized what I want to buy. So send me the links because I'm ready.
Okay. You heard it here first, people. Caitlin's ready to hit purchase. Okay, book 5. Book 5 is Role Model. This is the story of Troy, Barrett, and Harris, the social media manager.
Do you see me smiling already? I loved this book.
You go ahead. You start.
Okay, so I loved this book for so many reasons. Okay, so basically at the beginning of the book, we are dealing with Troy, who has just been traded to Ottawa. Ottawa is a club that is having a lot of fun. The players are very bonded. They care about each other outside of hockey, but they stink. They're not good. And Ilya has also questionably asked to be traded there. No one knows it's because of Shane, except we do. And he is the captain of the team, and he's a little bummed that they stink, but also everyone's being so nice, and it means that he gets to see Shane more frequently, so he's kind of over it. And Troy has just come off of a bit of a scandal. He's always been kind of a bad boy in the league. Like, everybody knows he has kind of a bad attitude, but his bestie, it's come out that his bestie from his previous team is horrible to women and probably sexually assaulted a bunch of them. And he essentially, in a public way, calls out this friend and is like, I think you're a piece of garbage, and that all of these women that are accusing you of this stuff are actually right. And that does not go well in the clubhouse for his team, so he gets traded to the stinkiest team in the NHL, aka Ottawa. And so when we meet Troy, he feels like he has been punished even though he did the right thing. So, right off the bat, this book is more political than the other ones. And I really liked that. I honestly, give me a whole series about the inner workings of how these professional sports leagues operate, because it's fascinating. It's corrupt. It's usually corrupt, but it's also fascinating and I want to know more about it and like what the behind the scenes are. And that's why we watch all these Netflix documentaries about these professional athletes, because like we want to know like what does your day-to-day look like, because this I don't get it. Show me all your weird exercises. So, Troy is in bad shape mentally. He's basically just accused his best friend of some really serious shit. The team picked his shitty friend over him, and now he's on the crappiest team in the NHL. And obviously, if you've read any of the other books or watched any sports for that matter, you know that people in the NHL are extremely competitive. So this is just like kicking a dog while he's down. And then he realizes this club has a lot of chemistry, even though they're not winning. And he is not really in a good place to like infiltrate that, and doesn't feel like he has the personality that's going to fit in there, and is kind of like going through the motions and is like, I don't really know how I'm going to fit in here. Enter Harris. Harris is a delightful, flannel wearing, grew up on an apple orchard cherub of a person, and he runs PR for the team and does all their Instagram account content and asks the players to do super cute interviews, and he gets a team dog, and he's just like a bubbly, vivacious person who is a super nerd for hockey and feels completely blessed that he's gotten his dream job with the team that he rooted for growing up. This team has barbecues, get togethers. They know each other's families by their first names. And Harris is like in the thick of it. They like include him in everything. His sisters make hard cider from the apples on their family farm, and he brings it to all of the events, and like everybody knows him and likes him. And he gets Ilya to do like these cute photo shoots for Insta, and like just he's just a bubbly, lovely person. And Troy is a very grumpy, closeted person. And somehow Harris has spidey senses that nobody else understands, and he is able to befriend Troy. And it honestly starts as a really nice friendship, which I feel like none of the other couples in this series have. None of them start as friends at all. They all like are clawing at each other and like screwing each other. Some of them are enemies. Some of them get wifed up in 2 days from the smoothie shop. Like there's no there's no slow burn in the heated rivalry series except Harris and Troy. And I absolutely loved them as a couple. I loved the slow burn. I loved the PR stuff. I loved that Troy actually stood up for something and stuck to his guns about it. I love that Troy spoils Harris and Harris is like appreciative of it. Like, I feel like there are a lot of like has and has nots couples in this series, and that Harris is like the first person that like actually acknowledges that and is like, yeah, take me on a spa day. Like, I would love that. Like, go me. Like, look at me catching this guy. Like, and I just loved the earnestness of that. Like, I loved that he was like open about that, whereas everybody else like doesn't even like acknowledge it or mention it. And Harris is like, look at me hooking like a millionaire. Like, anyways, I absolutely, if you couldn't tell, I absolutely loved this book, and I just gushed about it. And I'm going to let Molly talk now because I feel like I got carried away.
No, I love that you loved it. I will say, in the beginning of this book, even though everything you said is true about Troy's circumstances and his headspace and how he arrived to Ottawa, the team was being so nice to him. The coach was being so nice to him. Harris was being so nice to him. Harris's family was being so nice to him. And he was still so tightly wound, so walls up. And I was starting to get pretty annoyed. I was like, I understand this is a rough situation, but every person here is like holding a hand out to you and being so open hearted to you and assuring you that you're in a great place where people want to have you on this team and have you involved and all those things. And I felt like Troy couldn't embrace anything. He was kind of stuck in this no one likes me. I'm bad luck. I bring bad things everywhere I go. And it was starting to make me incredibly mad. And then there's kind of a turning point where he starts to do these small gestures for Harris. Like he's bringing him eggnog lattes. He's offering to sit with him while he's working late, making memes of the team. Like all these things.
He's
And
so
then,
obvious. And then when people call him out on it, he's like, "Who, me? You figured it out?"
so funny. And then for, I would say, the back third of the book, where they start to really enjoy each other's company and he starts to be more open to things and he gets to go with Harris to the apple farm and all the things, I started to be like, okay, I think I'm going to be into these two as a couple. I will say this book has a very intense scene which gets repeated in the long game, which is that the Ottawa team is on a plane that malfunctions. And I got to that section and I was like, oh, Rachel Reid, like, I didn't know you were going to do this to us. And I felt like up to this point in the whole book series, there really hadn't been something that dire in any of the storylines. And this felt like just a major detour. But what it did as a plot device is force people to be more forthcoming about their feelings for the other people in their lives, which I loved. And at the end of this book, you see that Troy is ready to enter this next chapter in a new version of himself. And what I also love is that Ilya really mentors him, and not just on the ice, but as a gay man, and is like, well, Ilya considers himself bisexual, but to say, you can do this. You can be with the person that you want to be with. It's okay. You're safe here. Everyone on the team is still going to love you. Everybody wants to know you exactly as you are. Ilya, I think, has a lot of the most humorous lines throughout the entire book series, but he's also really this like guiding hand for players who are having a tough time saying who they really are. He does it with Eric Bennett too in Common Goal. When they're together in New York and they're out at the Kingfisher, he's sort of like razzing him and saying like, why are you acting like this isn't happening? Like, I like that version of Ilya where he just is very perceptive. He sees how people really are and what they think and feel, and he just kind of gently encourages them to go into the right direction. And this book also has a ton of puppy slash dog time, which I just adored. I mean, obviously Chiron's right here on the cover. Um, and this dog is going to make way for another dog in the long game, which is just a delight, an absolute
Ilya
delight.
with dogs is something I didn't know I needed in my life. And honestly, he is such a little sap around them. And it's awesome.
It's so
And
awesome.
I I didn't realize how nurturing he could be. And then I feel like him being around this dog was like such a good segue into like how nurturing he is with and patient he is with Shane in what we thought was the final book but isn't. Um and it's clear to me that he didn't have any of that growing up. Like his brother is a jerk, his mom
Yeah,
passed away, his dad's a jerk. So like where would he even get this from? Like how would he know how to be like that?
right.
And it was just really it was a fun little revelation about his personality that he had that in there.
Yes, agreed.
Um and I really liked it. I Cuz he's like such a shit talking
He's a
hard
menace.
ass.
He's a
Yeah,
menace.
he is. He really is. He meddles in things that are none of his business and it works out, but like I don't know why. And he, in the first book or the second book, well, first and second books, he's really like he's not a womanizer, but he's like he's a player.
Yeah,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
he's like, yeah, I like to like, F chicks and dudes and play hockey and I'm going to be rookie of the year and I'm going to score
Right.
50 goals and like, he's cocky,
Yeah.
you know? So for him to all of a sudden have this like soft exterior that he's willing to show other people when this dog is around, I was like, "Oh, you're multifaceted. I'm in on this."
I think that's actually a perfect segue to book 6, The Long Game. I will say you've mentioned there's all kinds of great stuff on Etsy, related to the Heated Rivalry show and also to this book series. I feel like I'm going to get some kind of fan art from The Long Game for myself, like to have and frame. This book
Love
to
that.
me, I not only do I think it's the best one of the 6 so far, I was so deeply
It's the
immersed
only
in this
one I
book.
cried. The
I
only
can't,
book.
yes, I First of all, Stephanie, when she read this, made us a video of her crying. Like we could see the tears coming down her face when she finished this book, and Caitlin and I had not finished it yet. And I knew going in it would be emotional. And also because I think Rachel Reid did originally think this was going to be the last book. She wanted to give the fans everything, like everything they've wanted to have. So over the course of this book, you get Shane and Ilya finally living together in Canada and seeing what that is like. You get them trying to make a plan to come out publicly. You get them being forced to tell their story to the public. And in the closing, you get the wedding. So you get everything that you would want if you were already invested in this.
It is so funny that you just bullet pointed this book that way because it's the only book that I took notes on today that I bullet pointed. So you just did bullet points. I'm gonna give you my bullet points.
Okay, go ahead.
Here,
And then I
here are
have
my snapshots.
okay, tell me. And
And
then
then
I
we'll deep
have
dive.
so many things to read also.
Ilya as a dog parent. Ilya in therapy.
Yes.
Ilya being vulnerable in general. Shane becoming bolder.
Yeah.
And then I wrote alternative book title, Growing Together. That's what I wrote down as my notes. Yep.
Oh my God.
Because that's what happens. So much of this book is Ilya giving Shane space to be
Yeah.
like, okay, you're not ready. You're not ready. You don't want to tell people. You don't want to tell people. And it's not even really clear at any point why Shane still wants to wait. It's like everybody's just kind of twiddling their thumbs like, Shane, like shit or get off the pot. Like, let's go. And Ilya is just like being super patient and giving him space and dealing with all of his weird nutrition shit and like hanging out with his parents even when he's not around
Yeah.
and, gets a dog and starts therapy and like doesn't even tell Shane right away about the therapy. And like he's doing all these things to be better for Shane. And Shane, his whole thing in this book or this thing that, his moment, I guess, is that he becomes like sexually bolder.
Mm-hmm.
He like on a whim drives to Ilya's house in the middle of the night to see him. Like he becomes like a little more spontaneous and like outward about his love and affection for Ilya to the extent that he is comfortable with. And it just feels like Ilya is doing all this building up like, yes, Shane, like you're freaking Shane Hollander. Like, yeah, man. Like, and Shane is kind of watching Ilya have to put himself more in a shell. Like he's having to get smaller for Shane in a lot of ways. And there's certain points in the book where Shane is like finally acknowledges that. And so anyways, that's why I feel like it's like a growing together
I love
thing.
that.
Like they just have to like they don't grow apart. They just have to like reshape themselves kind of to like fit better with each other. And I did not guess who would be doing the proposing. Did not see that coming at all.
Before we get into that, I just want to read one bit that
Oh yeah, do it.
addresses kind of what you were talking about. So this is Shane having a conversation with his mom, Yuna, who we love. And it says, Shane huffed a laugh. You sound like Ilya because we're very much aligned in our views when it comes to you. You both think I'm an uptight, wet blanket. We both love you to death and want you to be happy. And we both know you can be your own worst enemy. Well, I had another enemy, but then I fell in love with him. That's my favorite page in the whole book.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, and then in that very next page, Shane is reflecting upon his impact on the way Ilya is being forced to behave. And he says he's looking at Ilya's Instagram. And it says the most recent post was from yesterday, Christmas, and it was of the foosball table Shane had given him. No caption. He scrolled and found a photo of the exercise balls Shane had been balancing on in Ilya's gym. One of the latest puzzles Ilya had completed with Shane's dad, one of Ilya's loon tattoo, one of the two plastic heart rings together on Shane's dresser. Shane realized that most of Ilya's posts were, in a weird, cryptic way, about Shane. His entire account was like a secret diary of their relationship, full of inside jokes and little references that only Shane would understand. And Shane hadn't even bothered to look at it before. Not really. He looked now. He scrolled until his eyes were so blurry he had to give up and sob into his hands instead. How could Shane have doubted for a second how fiercely Ilya loved him?
Yep. And then he has this moment where he thinks he's going to lose Ilya on the plane when the plane is like maybe going to crash.
Yeah.
And he has this big reactive moment of like, why am I wasting my time? Like, what am I doing?
Yep.
I could have lost everything. And like, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know. Like, there, Ilya is so big in his ways that he loves Shane and
Yeah.
like is ready to shout it from the rooftops. And Shane's like, I've been keeping it as a little secret in a box in my room. And like, I need to get over myself and we need to get married and we need to do it our way. And I, in some ways, I was like, oh God, is Ilya gonna like react poorly to this proposal? Because he's like, you're just, he could have easily been like, you're just doing this because you thought I was gonna die. And I
Right.
was like, if that is how this goes down, I'm gonna be really upset. Like, I'm gonna be really bummed. And instead, because Ilya is like the best, he sees it as like, I can't believe you remembered all the things that I said I was going to do when I proposed to you. And like, he's so funny about like, this ring is for me and like, you're going to get one and we're going to like do this. And he doesn't really care what it took to get Shane to that point. And because I'm a girl and maybe because I overthink everything, I was just like, oh God, I don't know. For me, if somebody did that to me, I don't know that I would have as good a reaction. I think I would be like, ugh.
What was so interesting is that it was so Shane in even the smallest of ways that like they weren't real candles. They were like the plastic candles where you flick the bottom, because he would never risk like wax being everywhere and having to clean that up, and like certain elements of his personality still shine through. And also, I can't believe I didn't say more about this earlier. There's a scene where Ilya and Shane are babysitting Hayden's kids.
Incredible.
And they do a mock wedding for them. And I thought to myself, Jacob Tierney, I know you're already planning this, but this desperately needs to be line for line in season 2.
I've consumed so much content about the TV show. It's like, I can't tell you when or where I saw anything because it was just like, I was an addict and I just was like shoving my mouth with the whole bag of potato chips.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the lines, there is an interview, I'll try and dig it up, where Connor Story said, he calls it book 2 because it's the second book of
Right.
Shane, of Jane and Lily. But he said, he was like, I want season 2 of the show to not skip one single storyline from book 2
Yeah.
because it's that good. He's like, it is perfect. I want every piece of it. He's like, I don't want to miss one single, every scene of that book needs to be in the show because it's all so important and it's all so good.
Okay. You're just teeing me up for all the perfect readings.
Oh, sweet.
Of sections. To that point, for those who haven't read it, they get outed not of their own choosing in the end. And Shane, of course, is falling apart. And of course, because he's like from the prestige team in the league, it's not going well. And Ilya, on the other hand, has these amazing neighbors who live next door, who the little kids run out every single time he's on his way to the arena to wish him a good game. So they've been outed. It's all over the press. Paparazzi are everywhere. And Ilya is about to go to the game for the first time since they've been outed. And it says, oddly, he'd been feeling relatively peaceful since they'd been outed. Shane, he knew, was an absolute wreck, but Ilya was ready to face whatever happened next, even though what was going to happen next was a meeting with Crowell. He should be nervous about that, but he was more curious than anything. Curious and ready to fight. Ilya passed his neighbor's house, the one where Willa and Andrew lived, and stopped dead in his tracks. There was a large hand-drawn sign attached to the tree near the end of their driveway. "We love you, Ilya!" Exclamation point. Underneath the sign was a little shelf that held 2 Funko Pop figures, one of Ilya and one of Shane. Ilya fumbled for the phone. He was glad he decided to shove it in his coat pocket before leaving. He turned it on, took a photo, sent it to Shane. Shane, oh wow, was that your neighbor's house? Ilya, yes, we are not so alone, I think.
Yep.
Those Funko Pops also better make it into the show.
Oh my God. They better make those.
I just, every single element of this, it was more than I thought we were going to get. Let me put it that way. It was more.
Oh my God. The fan service was insane in this
more romance, more vulnerability, more friends supporting them, more audacity in the face of the sick reaction of the league.
Ilya and Shane with children, Ilya and Shane with a dog, Ilya and Shane having a wedding. Like, I just was like, it was like when you're watching a TV show and it's been 6 seasons and then you finally like get all the payoff and you're like, sometimes it doesn't work out and sometimes it does. And you're like, thank God the showrunner gave the fans what they wanted. She was just like, let me send these 2 up in a love blimp because it was everything. It was all the things. And then I like when I was reading this a couple weeks ago, I finished it and I was like, not only am I going to get to watch this on TV 700 times or however many times I hit play on it,
yeah,
but I also am getting another book.
Yes.
And I say because when I'm reading these, I'm like, these are for me. This is a love letter to Caitlin. And I know that all of the other fans feel that way too, because I see what people respond on Instagram and I see, Molly. Okay, first of all, today is Connor Story's birthday. I just wanted to put that out there that we're recording this on his birthday. I cannot tell you how many people on Twitter are freaking out that Connor is not in New York City already because he's doing SNL this week. And people are shitting themselves that they didn't put him on an earlier plane and that he's somehow not going to get to New York City in time to do the rehearsals. And then the show's going to get blown. That is how involved people are having the most extreme parasocial relationship with the people on this show. It's like I thought The Summer I Turned Pretty was crazy. This is I honestly don't think I've seen a fandom this thirsty maybe in my life. And I've been in a lot of fandoms. I've been in a lot.
Yeah.
And the way that people are concerned that Connor is going to miss his opportunity to host SNL because of the snow is something that I think maybe Swifties. I think they only rival Swifties. And Swifties have their own power, and Swifties, there's 1 billion of us, literally. And so I think that that's kind of a hard comparison, but I will say the tenacity and the passion that people have around the Heated Rivalry cast rivals Swifties. And I think that with more time, they're going to have the numbers. You know what I mean? I think it's Swifties and Heated Rivalry, and that's it. It's us against the world. And I'm in both.
You sure are. You sure are. Oh man. I mean, we could go on forever and ever, but
I know. I
We're
know.
excited to share this episode with all of you. And thanks for your patience. There are so many of you who have joined us on our community on Instagram, and we're so grateful for all of your hot takes and ideas and interpretations. And we know you've been asking for this episode about the back 3 books, so we're delighted to finally give it to you. Let's talk quickly about what we're reading now.
Yeah, let's rapid fire because these
I
people have already
will-
been listening to us chat for an hour.
Yes, I'll go first. I'm reading a book you recommended to me, which is called Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. And
It's a good one.
I started this afternoon. I've already read 120 pages.
Shocking.
Her pacing is incredible.
It's so good.
Her ability to end a chapter on a oh shit sentence that makes you go, okay, I'll keep going, is unbelievable. In fact, I thought, I wish I had taken this book on a plane because I would have finished the whole thing.
It would have been an unbelievable plane book.
Yeah. So I'm ecstatic, and we're going to do an episode on this one. So I'll say more when we do that.
That one's just such a cool premise because the girl, somebody tries to murder her and she doesn't quite die. And then she's trying to solve her own murder. It's like such a cool premise.
It's a very cool premise.
I am reading a book called The Enemy of Time. And here's what I'm going to say about this book. I feel a little duped.
Oh.
Not necessarily in a bad way. It was just unexpected. So I bought this book at Barnes & Noble in Naples, Florida. And I actually texted Molly and Steph because when I went to add it on Goodreads, I bought it the day before Goodreads said it came out. So I don't know if somebody screwed up, but it was out and about. I'm now wondering if this has something to do with how I got duped, because this Barnes & Noble in Naples, Florida is probably the nicest one I've ever been to. And it's also enormous. It is huge. It has the largest romance section out of any bookstore that's not a romance bookstore that I've ever seen.
Wow.
This was in the romance section. It wasn't on a new table. It wasn't like, it was on like an end cap kind of thing, but it didn't really have a theme. And I read the back of it and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And it's about a group of 4 friends that like have kind of an intertwined relationship. Like some of them are best friends, some of them are siblings, some of them have dated each other, etc., etc. And they go back for their 5-year high school reunion and kind of like dig up all their shit. The reason I feel duped is this was in the romance section, and it's very much a coming of age book because they flash back to all of their bullshit in high school.
Okay.
Like when all the fights started, when they started having issues, when the best friendship became a relationship kind of thing, and how that mungled their group and whatever. I think this should have been in the YA section because the majority of the book so far is them in high school being idiots. And it like there's more flashback than there is current day so far. I'm only 80 pages in. Maybe that changes. But what I'm wondering is because this was put out a day before it was supposed to be released, was there maybe another error and they should have put it in YA?
Oh.
Like I haven't looked into it, but I feel like the marketing of this was maybe this was supposed to be in YA and whoever put this book out early might have put it in the wrong spot. But I don't know.
Okay.
But there's definitely more high school timeline than there is of them being 23.
Okay. Well, I look
that
forward.
being said, it's still good. It's just like that's not what I thought I was reading.
Totally. Okay. Well, listeners, if you want to see the list of all the books we talked about today, and if you feel like watching us talk about any of this instead of just listening in your ears, you can join us on Instagram. We are at Plans Are Booked. You can also write to us at plansarebooked@gmail.com. If you liked what you heard today, would be honored if you would leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps people find the show.
And until next time, our plans are booked.